Welcome back to some new petty revenge stories, where people get small victories over those that wronged them. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called CEO's Coffee. In 2020, I was an intern at a smaller company. Because of the restrictions, we weren't allowed to gather around the coffee machine, so I was making Turkish coffee for my department. I had a separate bag of coffee next to the container of coffee for the CEO in the kitchen. At some point, I got a bag of really smelly and bad tasting coffee for free, and I mixed it with the good coffee. However, the smell and taste were too overpowering, so each time I added just a small spoon of it to the pot. That's why I had 2 bags open. I noticed that the bags were closed differently than I had closed them, and suspected that the CEO's secretary decided to steal some of my coffee. So I put the smelly coffee in front and hid the good one. I again see that the bag was closed differently, and I go and open the CEO's pot. Lo and behold, the container smells like the bad coffee. The CEO got to drink the disgusting coffee because his secretary was too lazy to go to the store when she ran out of it. The next story is called Revenge on a Junkyard. I bought a steering wheel for my car, since mine was in a pretty bad shape. Got one for $300 from a junkyard. The said junkyard promotes a 30-day guarantee, and they allow returns 14 days after receiving the package. After installing it, it didn't appear to be working. Pedals, buttons, horn not working. Lane assist error on the dash, etc. The wheels are visually the same and allegedly come from the same car model, so I contacted them. They told me to give them a photo of the diagnosis tool. I told them I'm not going back to my mechanic to pay him to install a part I know is not working. They said the steering column probably needs to be replaced to pair with the new wheel, and if I provided them the screenshots, they will send me the correct one. Not free, of course. No, I just want to send it back. Thank you. They told me no, and they accused me of potentially stealing modules from the steering wheel and whatnot, so they won't take it back, and they hung up. In my country, you can get SIM cards with a new number without any ID. I got some of those, contacted the said junkyard every 3 to 4 weeks and asked for something heavy, engines, etc. I specifically looked for a location as far away as possible from main cities, so the shipping gets to 50-ish easily, one way. I wait to be contacted by the delivery guy. Tell him I'm not picking it up, sorry, then toss the SIM card. I did this 4 times to ensure they lost just as much money as I have. The third story is called He Wouldn't Pay. Earlier in my profession as a wood floor installer, I had a nice side job set up with a homeowner. He was building a new home and he had some wood flooring that he needed to be installed. I checked out the place and gave him a quote for his new 2-story home. He accepted my bid, and I told him that it would take 3 days for the installation. I set the day and time, and we both agree. I get there with my crew, and the wood is sitting in the garage. We begin work, and everything is going well on the first day. At the end of the day, we clean up and bring all the scraps and boxes outside to the garbage pile out back. On the second day, the same. No issues, and we clean up and throw out all the waste. On the third day, I call the owner and tell him everything is going as planned and we will be done by the end of the day, and we expect payment then. We get going and the whole crew is in a nice groove. I run out and get lunch for everyone, so we finish on a high note. Come 4 PM, we are done and everything looks great. I send the crew home and wait for the homeowner at 5 PM. Come 5:45, no one shows up. I call and get no answer. Long story short, he never shows. I call and call. No answer. Days go by. Nothing. We are talking 8K back in the 90s. I end up having to put a lien on the home to get the homeowner to respond. Fast forward, the homeowner ends up paying us our money. But out of spite, he had $300 for what he called disposal of the garbage we left in his garbage pile out back. I told him those were his boxes of wood that we cleaned up and put in his garbage pile. He wanted a small victory, so I let him think he got it. After he left, I was still in the house, so I made my way upstairs to the hall bathroom. I went inside the sink cabinet and loosened some of the fittings, so there would be a nice slow leak of water over the weekend. The next story is called Hold the Door. I work on the 11th floor of an office building with 3 elevators. The other day, as I rounded into the elevator lobby at lunchtime, I saw one cab open its doors and a food delivery person steps into it. I was a few steps behind, but not too far. The delivery guy and I made eye contact as I got closer. but he made no effort to hold the door or press the open door button and let me get on with him. The doors closed just before I got within arm's reach and I had to wait. It wasn't a long wait. The next elevator opened its doors about 20 to 30 seconds later. No one else got on. I punched the 11 button and rode alone up to my floor. A few seconds after I walked off the elevator and started down the hall to my office entrance, I heard a chime behind me. The first elevator door opened, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw the same food delivery guy walking out. His elevator must have made a stop or two along the way. I am now a few steps ahead of him. We are the only office on our floor, so he must be delivering to one of my co-workers. Our office uses key fobs for security. I scanned mine to unlock the door and stepped into the office lobby. Then made sure to look back and make eye contact with him as the door closed and locked behind me. It's a glass office door, so he must have seen my stroll through the lobby and start down the hallway as he stood there. I smiled widely when I heard the office door bell ring, even more when it rang the second time a short while later. The last story is called Too Much Stress. I worked under a manager a few years ago who was awful in every sense of the word. She would throw personal belongings into the garbage, things like designer purses, coffee mugs, etc. Her excuse was they shouldn't be laying around in the open. I understand that, but you don't throw people's personal belongings away. This manager also enjoyed making our lives hell. She would add extra work on us from previous shifts that were short-staffed, as well as add work when governing bodies would be coming in to clean up the area. We would tell her we didn't have the already hilarious ridiculous time to get the impossible work done. She started suggesting that we skip our breaks. Whenever we complained that we didn't have time to complete work, she would say, "Oh, I never got breaks whenever I worked for 40 years before getting this position." She'd even say things like, "Oh, your breaks aren't that important." I emailed the general manager of the building, as well as his assistant, a union representative, and our union president. I explained how our manager was treating the staff regarding our breaks, and how our belongings were literally being thrown in the garbage. Nobody responded to my email, but with the system we used, we could see everyone who saw it. So when everyone saw it and I received no reply, I replied to the email. Failure to respond appropriately within a week will result in this email being forwarded to the Ministry of Labor Human Rights Board. I received 2 emails from the union. One was from the representative, saying he did not agree with the manager's comments. The other was from the general manager, saying he would deal with the issue. The next day, I came in for my evening shift. The manager was standing next to our reporting area, looking very upset. She pointed at a piece of paper on the wall and explained that the general manager gave her that. We were to sign off when we took our breaks, and if for whatever reason we missed it, she was to pay us overtime for it. She then took me aside and told me she did not understand why someone would report her for cracking jokes. I responded with, "Jokes are made when everyone laughs. When you made your jokes about our breaks and throwing our belongings out, not even you were laughing." She quit 3 days later, stating that it was too much stress. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.